Yesterday we started with what is economics, and I told you that economics word has been taken from a Greek word in which oikos means household and nomos means management. So economics is basically about management of household. Okay, when we extend it, it becomes management of the entire country, entire nation, right? So we are basically studying scarcity of resources. We have very less resources, but we have multiple uses, alternate uses for them, and our wants are unlimited. So how to produce, what to produce, the economic problem is what we study in economics, and how to solve that problem. Okay, now definition of economics, we categorize it into four: the classical economics and the modern economics. Okay, classical economics starts with wealth definition, which was given by Adam Smith. He is also known as father of modern economics because he was the one who started giving you, he's who started to put economic ideas into a systematic way. Okay, in his book he gave the definition of economics, which concentrated itself around wealth. According to him, economics is a science of wealth, and it studies consumption and production of wealth only. So in his definition, wealth was at the center, and he did not consider human welfare at all, so it was at the periphery. The main features were, it is a study of wealth, it is study of material goods only, not non-material goods, and he studied economic man, man who is motivated by self-interest. The second definition was the welfare definition, which was given by Alfred Marshall in his book Principles of Economics. He took welfare as the end of whatever economic activities we conduct, and material goods were only at the periphery. Okay, he studied ordinary people, ordinary man, and ordinary business of life. He did not study the extraordinary man, and his emphasis was on economic welfare. But what he did was also economic welfare in terms of material only, which you can value in terms of money, not otherwise. Okay, then we come to the third definition. We finished the third definition also yesterday. Scarcity definition. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
We had finished? Okay. So scarcity definition was given by Robbins, Professor Lionel Robbins. In this, he said it is that study which economics is that study which studies the activities of human beings, the availability of scarce resources, its alternate uses, and those alternate uses for unlimited wants. Gulab Jain, Ronak, Ronak, say a yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
Ronak, you will not be late from tomorrow. It's already 9:10. I will not admit if anybody comes after 9:05. Okay?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Unless it's a problem with the connectivity, you are not supposed to be late for class. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. So we are doing the scarcity definition as given by Robbins. He said that we have unlimited wants which have alternate use, and we have scarce resources to satisfy that want, which in turn becomes our economic problem. That means we have a problem of choice. We have to prioritize our wants to satisfy them. But what was the problem with this definition was, he identified the economics problem, but he did not give any solution to that problem. Okay, he said economics is the study of that problem. But what the last that we are going to study is the next one, which is the growth definition. He said, which is given by Samuelson, he said that economics should not only identify the problems that we have, the economic problems that we say, it should also give solutions to it. Okay, is it clear? The features we had done. So now we can start with the fourth one.
Yes.
The fourth is your growth definition, which was given. Who is this? You will all keep your microphones off unless you have to ask a question or I ask you a question. Okay, otherwise lot of sound disturbances are there. Ronak, keep your microphone off till you have to ask a question.
Yes, ma'am, it is off.
But I can still hear you. Okay. Microphone, not the video. Videos you have to keep on. Otherwise, how am I supposed to see you?
Ma'am, 2 minutes.
Okay, now we'll start with the growth definition. Growth definition was given by Professor Samuelson. Okay, and this says that not only economics should identify the problems which we say are the economic problems, it should also give us solutions to the problem. And also, since we know that we have scarce means to satisfy our unlimited wants, economics should suggest ways how we can grow those resources so that our future generations can benefit from it. In simple words, I'm telling you this, okay? And this is how, that is why this is known as a growth definition, because he says that we should also consider that how we can grow these resources which satisfy our maximum wants. Okay, is it clear? So according to him, economics is the study of man, of how a man and society choose, with or without the use of money, to employ scarce productive resources which could have alternate uses, to produce various commodities over time and distribute them for consumption now and in the future among various people and groups of society. Okay, so this is the definition of economics as given by Samuelson. Now, a large number of people now believe in this definition. Now we follow this definition. We believe that economics should suggest how scarce means are and what should be done to increase that so that we attain a higher standard of living. Okay, so this definition, since it incorporates growth, that is why now the modern economists believe this and follow this definition. Okay, is it clear to all? Clear to all? Yes or no? Now, what were the main features of this definition? First is efficient allocation of resources. This, even the last definition, who was the last one? Which was the third definition which we learned?
Samuelson.
No, Samuelson is what we are learning now. Which was the last one we learned? Robbins. Robbins. So he also said that we should have efficient allocation of resources. Okay, because we have scarce resources, we should work towards efficient allocation of resources so that we can satisfy more of our wants. Okay, growth of resources, he said that efforts should be made to increase these resources so that we can satisfy our ever increasing unlimited wants. It gave solutions to economic problems. Okay, since the third definition that we studied of Robbins, it only talked about the problems. It did not give us any solution to it. But Samuelson said economics should not only study the economic problems, it should also give solutions to the economic problems. Okay, and dynamism. What is the meaning of dynamism? Anybody can tell me? What is the meaning of dynamism? Dynamism? Haven't you heard this word before? Nobody knows the meaning?
A riskful
Is
task
it the economic growth measured over time?
Yes.
or the risk in the economy.
Dynamism, wherever you use this word dynamism, it means over time. Okay, it is a study over time for a period of time. Okay, so in this definition, Samuelson talks about dynamism. Then he says that we should also consider the future growth so that in future we can satisfy more of our wants. Okay, so he talks about economic growth is measured over time. Okay, it is not for that point of time, not for that particular period of time, right? It is measured over time. Okay, this is clear to all. So with this we finish. Okay, with this we finish all the 4 definitions of that is there in your syllabus, the major definitions of as given in your syllabus. Now the questions that I have seen is they ask you directly about these definitions. they ask you about differences in these definitions. Okay, what were the differences? It can come as maybe what was the criticism, or why this did not satisfy the modern economic problems, something like that. Okay, I'll be giving you a worksheet after we finish with tomorrow's class. So I'll give you a worksheet. You will do that in your notebook after you have written the notes. Okay, is it clear to all? So now next we come to economics as a
Yes, ma'am.
subject. Okay, as a subject. Now economics as a subject is divided into two parts. Majorly what we study in economics is divided into two parts. One is microeconomics and the other one is macroeconomics. Okay, micro means small or individual. In microeconomics, the word I, that stands for an individual. So when we are talking about individual, it can be one household, about one product, okay, or one individual, how he is making decisions, how he is using those scarce natural resources, allocating them so that his maximum wants are satisfied. Okay, so microeconomics studies the behavior of small economic units, okay, like individual consumers, individual producers, and resource owners. Resource owners are also known as factor of production. Factor of production are those which are used as input for production process. Okay, so factor of productions are four types: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Okay, we will learn about these individually in future chapters. Okay, but for now, factors of production are those who are known as resource owners, what you put in as input for production. Okay, and they are four: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Enterprise also can be written as organization. Okay, do you want me to explain these, what are land, labor, or we'll do it ahead only whenever it comes? For now, you just know that factor of production, where I have written this FOP, that is factors of production. Okay, these are those which are used as input for production process. So in microeconomics, we study individual behavior, consumers. Consumers are those who are using these produced products. Okay, those are the consumers. How they purchase, what is the thing which helps them to decide how much they are going to purchase at what price. Okay, so it is consumer, individual consumer whose behavior is studied. Producers who decide for one product how much they are going to produce so that their profit is maximized. Consumers will see that their maximum satisfaction is achieved, and producers will see that they maximize their profit. Okay, in this, whenever they are we are dealing with single consumer, single producer, whatever is there, the thing which determines their decision is price of the commodity. Okay, at what price, what quantity the consumer is going to buy, the price determines what he is going to buy and how much he is going to buy. Okay, the price only determines what the producer will produce and how much is he going to produce, because he has to see his maximum profit. Okay, therefore microeconomics, before, because it is a study of price, it is also known as price theory. All the decisions that consumers and producers take are based on price. That is why it is also known as price theory. Is microeconomics clear to you? Say a yes or a no. Microeconomics is clear to you?
Yes,
Yes?
ma'am.
Yes? Why is it known as price theory? Now the question you will write is, why microeconomics is known as price theory? Write down the question. Why microeconomics is known as price theory? Okay. Now we come to macroeconomics. Macroeconomics, in the word macroeconomics, A stands for aggregate. What is the meaning of aggregate? What is the meaning of aggregate? Can anyone tell me? You have not heard this word in maths? Summation?
Ma'am,
It means differentiate.
No, aggregate means total, sum of all. So macroeconomics, it's an aggregate economics. That means it studies the total economy as a whole, a total economy of a nation, right? Wherein microeconomics is studying individual economy, macroeconomics studies aggregative economy. Okay, it studies aggregate production as a total nation, or of the total. When we are talking about international trade also, it comes in as a total world economy. Okay, that is macroeconomy. Your national income, GDP, your general aggregate price, interest, all this comes in macroeconomy. Okay, when you are studying the entire economy as a whole, not of one individual but all the individuals taken together. That is why this is also known as aggregative economy. Clear? Macroeconomics is clear to you? Okay, so
yes,
what are the
ma'am.
differences between macroeconomics and microeconomics? This you will write down, because this forms a very important question. And this, from here, the next question will be differentiate between macro and microeconomics. And whenever you're doing the questions, please put dates also. And all of you know that you have to make index also. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So let's do the difference between macro and microeconomics. Microeconomics studies individual income, whereas macroeconomics studies the national income. Yes? You have heard these terms, national income, whenever the budget comes, whenever people are talking about economy, the national income has increased, decreased. You hear these terms? Okay, so these are the study of macroeconomics. Second is microeconomics analyzes the demand and supply of labor, whereas macroeconomics analyzes the total employment in the economy. Okay, so this is of a micro is of a individual labor, one person, the demand and supply of labor in one industry, one particular industry. But the macroeconomics will analyze the total employment, whether it is in one industry or all the industries taken together, all the sectors taken together, the employment level in the entire economy. Okay. Third is micro deals with households and firms decision. One firm, one single firm's decision, okay, which will affect the produce of that firm, the price of that, the quantity produced, and the same way the demand of one household. But macro deals with aggregate decisions. It will take the entire demand of the economy, the entire supply of the economy. Okay, and therefore it deals with aggregate price, not individual price of one product, but aggregate price. Okay, this I have already told you that it studies, microeconomics studies individual prices, whereas macro studies the overall price level. Okay, when we talk about inflation, it is not talking about one sector, it is talking about the entire economy as a whole. Okay, so inflation and overall price levels, these are general price levels, these are macroeconomic studies. Okay, then micro analyzes the demand and supply of one good. Okay, one individual household, so one particular good it will be analyzing, whereas macroeconomics will analyze the aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Okay, so basically macroeconomics is complete one. When you study one individual, then you generalize it to the whole of the economy. Okay, and then you see what is the difference in decision making of one person and the entire economy as a whole. Now in your syllabus, what I have seen is you have majority of microeconomics in your syllabus. Okay, macroeconomics little bit just headings, just simple definitions you have to learn, that also towards the end. So basically we will be dealing with microeconomics in your syllabus. Okay, micro and macro is clear to all? Yes.
Ma'am, I didn't understand third point of microeconomics.
Third deals with households and firms decisions.
Yes,
This one
ma'am.
deals with house.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
told you microeconomics is one household, right? When we talk of household, it means either a firm, one industry which is producing one good, or it will be talking about a household, can be your household, how you make decisions in your household. Okay, one single unit, any single unit, either it takes one person or one single unit. If suppose I give you an example, you buy sugar for your monthly use, okay, what
Yes.
determines how much sugar you are going to use? That is what is studied in microeconomics. Okay, what determines that sugar usage? How much sugar do you take? What is the price? Basically, what will decide the sugar consumption in your house? The price of the sugar. Okay, if it increases, you will decide ki let's have less of sugar, we will not make lot of sweets this time because the prices of sugar has shot up. So one household and one firm, the same sugar, if the prices increase, the firm which is producing that sugar will decide that I can maximize my profit right now. Yes, I can increase my profit. So he might decide to increase the supply of sugar. And if the demand goes down, then he will say that the demand is down, nobody is buying sugar, so I would cut down my supply of sugar. Okay, so it deals with decision of one household, one firm. We'll start dealing with this in demand and you will understand it better, how one household is studied. Okay, this is clear, yeah?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so these 5 points are clear to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next is activities, that we are talking about economic activities, the activities which take part in an economy, that is a human life. Lot of economics we have, lot of activities we keep doing, yes, in our entire life. So those activities the economist has divided into two. One is economic activities, the other is non-economic activities. Okay, the very simple difference between economic and non-economic activities is money and wealth. What deals with money and wealth is economic activity. What does not, which is not concerned with money, is non-economic activity. Okay, in the end, when you are considering economic activity, it should have value for you in terms of money. If it does not have value in terms of money, it might have value for you, but if it is not in term of money, it will not be considered as economic activity. Okay, I'll give you an example for that. As a teacher, I am teaching, I am providing you my skills, right? I am giving you, sharing you the knowledge that I have. What am I getting in turn? I'm getting my salary in turn, right? So the services that I am providing to you is in return of the salary which I get. Money is involved in this, yes. So this is an economic activity. But when I teach my own child the same subject, when I teach my own child, am I doing it for some remuneration? No, I am doing it because it is my child. For the love of my child, I am doing that activity. There is no money involved in it. Okay, therefore this teaching, the same teaching becomes a non-economic activity. The difference is clear to you, or should I give you one more example?
Ma'am, it's clear.
It's
Ma'am,
clear,
it's clear, ma'am.
all
Yes,
of
ma'am,
you,
it's clear.
the difference between economic activity and non-economic activity? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So now when we are talking, when we are studying economics, we will consider only the economic activities. The non-economic activities are not considered, right? The same example goes for your parents also, right? When they go out for their job, they are doing it because they get salary out of it. But the same thing, if they are doing for you, your mother cooking food for you, your mother teaching you, it is because of the love and affection that she has for the family, not because of a salary, right? Now the coronavirus is going on. Okay, all the maids are on leave. When a maid household work she does for you, she does it for a salary that she receives from your family. But when your parents are doing the same household work, it is considered as a non-economic activity because there is no remuneration involved in it. Okay. Now there is next question in this: differentiate between economic and non-economic activities. Okay. This is your next question. Now, economic activities, they are concerned with money and wealth. It deals with the use of scarce goods and resources. It is related to money or wealth, and it satisfies your want. Okay. So economic activities, whatever man does, is basically to use these scarce resources to satisfy their maximum want. Okay. Now there are types of economic activities which come under the heading production, consumption, distribution, and exchange. Okay. Production is those economic activities which are concerned with addition to utility and value of goods and services. The G and S that I write, it is goods and services. Okay. So production deals with those economic activities which add value to utility and value to goods and services. Okay. I'll give you an example in this. Wood that you get from the forest, you are getting that free of cost from the forest. But when that wood is bought into the factory and a table is made out of it or furnitures are made out of it, it adds utility to it. Yes, it is more useful to you in the form of table and chair and furniture, and it adds value to it. Okay, that is the meaning of production. Clear to all? Clear
Yes,
to all?
ma'am.
Yes. Production, whenever an activity adds utility and value to it, that means production has happened. Okay. Consumption is when, as a consumer, you use that table, that chair for satisfaction of your want. Why do you use a table and chair? To sit and study, to sit and do some writing work, whatever you're using it. So when you use that good and services for the satisfaction of your want, that is known as consumption. Okay. Third is distribution. Now, how this distribution takes place? This distribution takes place, this goods and service, this good which was produced in a factory, this table that was produced in a factory, how does it come to your house? You buy it at a certain price. Yes. And that price is determined how? By whatever input the producer has put in it. He has paid the laborer, he has bought the wood, he has used the tools for it. So whatever he has paid for it, plus the profit he is going to make out of it, that will determine the price of that table. Okay. He is quoting one price for the table. Now you want to buy that table, but you have to see that what is your purchasing power, how much money you are going to spend to buy that particular table. If your purchasing power, if your money that you are quoting matches the money with the producer, the price of that table is determined. Okay. Clear or not?
Yes,
Children?
ma'am.
Yes. So this is
Yes.
distribution, the determination of price of factors of production. I told you what are the factors of production: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Okay. So determination of price of these is the distribution part of economy. Okay. And the last one is exchange, that is sale and purchase of good and service, which happens through money. It is not a barter system. Please remember, money should be involved, otherwise it is not an economic activity. Okay. All the social work that these NGOs do, it does not involve any money, so it is not a economic activity. Okay. It is not done in exchange of some monetary remuneration. Clear? Economic activities are clear to all. Now we come to
Yes, ma'am.
non-economic activities. I have already told you, it is not concerned with money and wealth, right? There is no economic aspect involved in it. And the types that come under are social activities. You all know these NGOs and all. Or if you go and teach some children of these kachi bastis for free of cost. That is a social activity. No money is involved. You're not taking any money for it. Okay. So that comes under this. Political activities, it is also not for money. The religious activities, whatever religious ceremonies, you go to the temples, whatever religious activities you do, it is not in exchange of, if it is not done in exchange of money, it is not a economic activity. Okay. Charitable comes under it. Your parental love, whatever your parents do, is not considered as an economic activity. It is a non-economic activity for you, right? And all the recreational activities. For example, a singer sings for himself just to entertain. He practicing. He is not doing that for any money. He is doing for his own recreation because he likes to sing. That becomes a non-economic activity. But when he goes and stage and performs for the audience, he is taking money for it. It becomes, the same activity becomes a economic activity. Clear?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes. Ask.
Ma'am, in social activities,
Yes.
the NGOs pay their employees, so that becomes an
Yes.
economic activity.
When they are giving payment to their employees, those employees are working in that NGO because they are getting salary out of it. That is an economic activity. But when this NGO goes to a place, suppose to an orphanage, and gives food to them free of cost, it is not done for something in return, some monetary benefit in return. So that activity is non-economic activities. Okay. The same activity can become economic, can become non-economic. Okay. So this is clear. The economic activities are clear to all.